Welcome back to Bash Bros and episode 24 of Notorious Pro Wrestling, the TEW playthrough where we find out exactly what would happen if Conor McGregor started his own wrestling promotion. It is pay-per-view time, the Keeper Lit pay-per-view. Only news to discuss before we get into the match card rundown is that I have entered negotiations with Will Hobbs. So I asked him if he wanted to work in the UK. He said yes. He is working for literally pennies. It's like $50. Is it dollars in this? Say $50. $50 per appearance, which is nothing. Like I said, I think the plans for him are going to come in as Ace Austin's bodyguard. Think MJF and Wardlow. Think AJ Styles and Osmos. I think that's what the guy's called, Osmos. Yeah, so think of that kind of dynamic. I actually think Ace Austin has a similar thing with Madman Fulton in Impact currently in real life. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going for here. But yeah, so since it is a pay-per-view, we will now run down the cards and the storylines leading to each of these matches. So it is time for the final of the women's tournament. Both competitors have a storied history with each other, destined to fight forever. It is Kaylee Ray versus Viper in the finals of the women's tournament. In recent weeks, Rich Swann and Jody Fleisch have been partnering up. This partnership started due to mutual respect between the two after a four-way match in which both men were involved, and has now blossomed into a brand new partnership. And this newly christened duo, the Birds of Prey, will be in action tonight. For months, Dynasty have made Grado's life hell. They have beat him with chairs, they have put him on the shelf, and have mocked him continuously in his attempts to start the Grado Talent Agency. Falling back into a manager role, Grado is looking to sign best and brightest young talent. Will he succeed? Probably not, but he has signed Amir Jordan to a contract who has the perfect partner in mind to take on Dynasty down the line. And we will see Grado Talent Agency's brand new signing tonight as they take on Kings of the North. Pentagon and Sonico had been feuding for months on end, leading to a very bloody and very dangerous hardcore match in which Pentagon finally defeated Sonico. After the match, Pentagon went to sacrifice Sonico to his master by breaking his arm. However, he stopped and hesitated and instead asked Sonico to join him. Much to the surprise of the audience, Sonico did so, realizing that he could not beat Pentagon Jr. and decided to join him and the still to be revealed master. Will we see a new dark side of Sonico? We will find out tonight, as this new dark duo is in action. And in our main event, Conor McGregor's in-ring debut. This has been simmering for months, ever since Chris Hero first won the NPW title. Taunting, verbal jabs, and then finally getting physical when Conor McGregor stopped Chris Hero from using the title as a weapon during a tag match with Easton Reese and the Grizzled Young Vets. Conor sent wrestler after wrestler to take the title off of Chris, however none were able to succeed, leading to a very frustrated Conor calling out the locker room, calling them just a bunch of stuntmen. Hero, being a very proud wrestler, stood up for the locker room, showing that although he may not like them, he does respect them. And now it comes to a head, as Chris Hero will defend his NPW title against Conor McGregor. And that is all the matches going into tonight. So, let's book it. And we are back coming at you from the Black Box in Belfast. It is the Keeper Lit pay-per-view, and oh my god, guys. This was the worst thing to try and book. Other than the main event, Conor versus Hero, every single match was affected by a double booking. It was so painful. Yeah, so let's do a rundown of the card then and all the changes we had to do. So Kings of the North versus Grado Talent Agency. Amir Jordan, surprise partner, was double booked with NXT UK. So I've had Grado jump in instead. I'll maybe add a quick angle in there to kind of talk about that, but so that happened. The tag match where the Birds of Prey were going to debut, Rich Swann is double booked by Impact and NWA. so I couldn't do anything there. So I have Jody Fleisch facing Carlos Romo. I'm going to bring him in earlier than I intended and have him go over Jody. I kind of throw him into the fray with the Birds of Prey versus Filthy Generation versus Ace Austin, and he'll partner up with Ace Austin just to kind of have almost like a bit of a faction war. I think actually I'm going to turn Carlos face further down the line whenever Will Hobbs comes in and partners up with Ace Austin as his bodyguard, but we'll see. Oh, this one broke my heart, guys. This one broke my heart. Oh, NXT UK fucked us over again with needing both Kaylee Ray and Viper, our two fucking finalists in the tournament, so we couldn't have our tournament final. Yeah, so we couldn't have our tournament final. So we have, because this makes up for it, we're gonna have a battle royal. Sorry, actually, my plan was to have Maiko Satomura versus Killer Kelly in a third place final, in a third place match, and then the winner of that would get the first title shot at whoever won the final. Killer Kelly was double booked by WXW, so even my backup plan was fucked. And yeah, so we went for a battle royal, winner gets first title shot. And then finally, Pentagon was double booked for AAA, so I couldn't do a tag match with him and Sonico. So Sonico debuts his new darker side by himself against Timmy Force. Because fuck it, why not? This was the most painful booking experience I've had ever playing TEW, not even in this playthrough, ever playing TEW. To the point where I am seriously considering looking at when we do our pay-per-views. I have it set to week 3 on a Saturday. That very much could change very quickly, because this sucked. This really sucked. Right, let's get this shit show on the road. The only upside I think is that although a lot of the matches were affected, all the replacement matches I still think will be quite good, other than the Battle Royale I think will falter, but the McGregor versus Hero match should hopefully be good enough that it won't affect the overall rating too much. Let's do it. So in a pre-taped, let's just do that in a pre-taped, because I had it that Viper and Kelly Ray did not show up on screen technically. So in a pre-taped segment, Viper and Kelly Ray get into a massive brawl before the show and end up kind of like a parking lot brawl, and actually end up getting arrested, putting the tournament finals in jeopardy. Manami and Maiko are there to kind of help pull them apart, and they're the ones that suggest doing the Battle Royale instead. 76, because Connor did all the talking. So a new darker side of Sonico appears. In a good match, Sonico defeated Timmy Force in 1524. 48 from Sonico, which is good, and Timmy Force had a 44, which is good. Overall 45, so that performed in the parameters, so happy enough for that. After the match then, Sonico does the Armbreaker sacrifice to Timmy, just like Pentagon's been doing for a while. Really solidifying that they are part of the same faction and have the same goals. 36, Sonic was not the best on the mic, so wasn't expecting magic here, didn't get magic. Then the Battle Royal for the first shot at the women's title. So in a decent match, Maiko Satomura won the Battle Royal in 14:55. The final four were Tennille Dashwood, Riho, Rachel Ellering with... Oh yeah, and then Maiko. And Tennille was the runner-up. Maiko Satomura got the most nominations. Debbie Kittle actually got an injury, it's not too bad, she's a bit of a jobber for us. Maki Ito was off her game, that's disappointing, but she did get a benefit of the benefit of having groundswell of public support. 40 overall, you know what, I'll take it. So it appears Zia was the one that injured Debbie. Zia has been disappointing, which is funny because the game is suggesting she's going to be a future star for me, but I just don't see it at this point. In our next match, in a bout that had great heat and good wrestling, Carlos Romo defeated Jody Fleisch in 1950 after a distraction from Ace Austin. Carlos Romo got a 49, Jody Fleisch got a 39. The bout dragged in the middle because of a lack of psychology. I did let them go 20 minutes, that was clearly too long for their psychology stats, because that's shit. 38 is a terrible rating. And then after the match, Ace Austin shakes Carlos Romo's hand in a 43 segment. So these are both two young guys, two very talented guys, kind of like a disrespectful, like early D-Generation X thing where they just don't have no respect for any of the legends, only care about themselves. So I think it's a good matchup, a good pairing, even if it is temporary. The backstage segment then, Amir tells Grado that his partner couldn't make it tonight, but Grado rips off his suit, revealing his wrestling gear, and he is good to go. 43 segment, which is good from Grado. And then the match itself, so in a bout that had great heat and decent wrestling, Amir, Jordan and Grado defeated Kings of the North in 14:43 when Amir pinned Bonesaw with a frog splash, following a distraction from Zach Gibson, or both Grizzled Young Vet members. As you remember last week, Kings of the North interfered in Grizzled Young Vet's match, so this is a bit of revenge for them. 41 segment, which is alright. I wasn't expecting magic again. Kings of the North had good matches with a 48 each. Grado had a 31. We know Grado's history of not being good. And Amir Jordan was 34. Again, not overly surprised. Amir Jordan and Grado have zero chemistry as partners. That's fine. They will not be partnering regularly, so I'm happy enough with that. Not a great match, but it's actually still better than I thought. And then prior to the main event, Conor McGregor invites Doug Williams to sit at ringside for his match with Chris Hero. That is a 67 rated segment. All three guys spoke, so that's why it's maybe a bit lower rated than most Conor McGregor segments would be. And then the match itself, a bit of an exceptional match. Chris Hero defeated Conor McGregor in 1939 with a submission. Chris Hero being at defense number 6. 61, which is I'm in two minds about. It is exactly where our pay-per-view rating matches have been, so it's not disappointing, but it's and then others I'm like, but Conor McGregor's in it, it should be higher, so I will take that. 61 is fine. It's like I said, it is exactly where it wasn't a disappointing pay-per-view. Our pay-per-views are usually about low 60s, so that is good. But yeah, so Conor McGregor had a 63 and Chris Hero had a 55. So what brought down was the fact that they don't have much chemistry. Okay, that makes sense. That maybe would have been maybe mid-60s if that wasn't there. But it's still, within the parameters, it still did well. Chris Hero was actually slightly disappointing. Chris Hero usually does better than that, but 61 is okay. And in the final segment then, sorry, actually it should be said, so kind of the storyline throughout the main event would have been, although Conor McGregor is clearly the better fighter, he is not used to wrestling, so he's not used to fighting on the outside, he's not used to rope breaks, all that sort of thing, but Chris Hero 100% would be, and that is how Chris Hero would continue to get the upper hand. And then it would probably end with Conor getting so frustrated that he kind of, because again, Conor is the heel in this match, he would then kind of go for like a cheap move, so say going to take the title to hit Chris Hero with it or a chair or something, and Doug being at ringside would stop him, not in a vicious way, but in like you are better than that way, because again, these two, Conor and Doug, do have great respect for each other. Yeah, and that's kind of what would lead to the end of the match, is the fact Conor's like, fine, I'll do it the proper way, and then he just can't because he's not used to wrestling rules. But yeah, that's kind of the storyline through all that, because you don't want Conor to come out weak, and you don't want, because at the end of the day, you assume he is a real, quote-unquote, real fighter, so he should be winning, but if you book it properly, with the right storyline beats, it makes sense why Chris Hero could win. Yep, so in the post-match then, the entire roster, even Chris Hero, gives Doug the retirement ceremony that he deserves. Obviously last time he got kicked in the dick, so no dick kicking this time. Chris Hero is obviously a face now, and he's like, you know what, I've seen the errors in my way, I shouldn't have kicked you in the dick. Doug gets the proper send-off he deserves, which is going to be him kind of falling into a personality/manager role for his upcoming storyline with Easton Reese, which will actually result in Easton Reese probably turning face, because Reese is still currently heel. That's why he's there, actually. So he is, to kind of establish that respect element between the two now. 79, which is good. All in all, 63, so that's grand. That is kind of on par where our pay-per-views have been. I think it recovered okay. Recovered okay after getting dicked by AAA and NXT UK and Crash and fucking any other bloody company under the sun, like to the But this was exhausting. Having to try and juggle everything. This was just exhausting. I'm not going to make a speech. Just finish the show. Just get this over with. I'm so tired. There is no news then coming out of Keep Her Lit. We'll take a wee look at Debbie Kettle. She's obviously got a wee injury there. So she is going to be working through it. Only 2 days out, so that's not an issue. But yeah, so other than that then, there's not much else to discuss. You will be back actually next week and we'll discuss the new storylines going forward. So other than that is it for another episode of Notorious Pro Wrestling. This was a tough one, guys. This was a tough one. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you did like it, subscribe and leave a wee like. It's always appreciated. And if you have any ideas on storylines going forward, future rivalries, how we can get back at NXT UK, leave them in the comments, whether that be on Reddit, Instagram, Twitter, or here on YouTube itself. And with all that being said, I will see you next time on Bash Bros.